Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. My name is Paolo from Flooring Surgeons. We're actually here in Wolverhampton in a place called Oaken, where we're going to be running through the full area of the downstairs where we've got engineered floors of 3 different kinds. If you'd like to follow me, I'll show you exactly what we've got. So at the moment we're in the open plan area where this is going to be the living area, and we've got the kitchen space on this side. What the customer have chosen to do with this section is a 20 by 6 engineered floor, which is a brushed and wax lacquered. Now if we have a look at the floor here, it is quite wide. It's a 190 board. So we're working with something quite thick. It's actually quite bespoke, this specific flooring. We look on this side here as well. We've got 20 mil of genuine floor, and the actual topping is 6 mil. So the actual oak on top is 6 mil on this specific product. And like I said, it is a brushed and lacquered. So before actually fitting this flooring, we had to make sure that the subfloor was level, in which it actually wasn't. So what we had to do is come and inspect to see how much mil pour we'd need to be pouring on. In this instance, I believe it was one of the fitters who poured about 10-15 mil average pour across the floor from one side to another. So usually in the span that we're working with now, this area, just to give you a quick summary, it's about 90 square meters of an open plan area. The hallway, back room and the front room encapsulated in one is about 40 square meters. Now this sort of span, this specific job, it has been booked for 6 days to complete. Now 6 days are cut in between. One of the days, as you can see, doing an open plan area. The other day we'd work on the borders. The next day we'd work on the actual boards going straight through in the herringbone pattern. And the last couple of days, maybe the last day, you would just do the finishing touches like the door bars and the edging strips that you'd need to put down. So we are now in the back room section. where we'll be having herringbone engineered 18 by 3 stuck directly down with a nice border going all the way around the edges. To achieve a nice lovely subfloor, we of course had to screed the area. So we had to screed this back room area, we had to screed the hallway, front room and the open plan kitchen. It's all the exact same stuff that we've used, so it's self-leveling screed that we've put down here to achieve this lovely level subfloor. Now in this area, like I said, we will be having a herringbone be glued directly down, which would be flowing directly from the back of the hallway straight in through this lovely open plan area. Now we actually have underfloor heating directly all the way through the span that you see in the open plan area, in the hallway and in the front room. Now that was done by a separate company in which they installed the wet pipes underneath and had the screed directly on top. Now we had to get our own level of screed to go directly on there to make sure it's nice and smooth for the flooring to get glued directly on and not cause any problems later on when it's been fitted.
So would you still recommend engineered wood flooring for underfloor heating system?
Oh, for sure. If we're talking real woods, the engineered works a lot better than per se solid wood. The reason for that is that the expansion factor is a lot less. Now we're gluing this product down, so there should be very, very low expansion anyway. But because we've got a multi-plywood construction at the bottom and genuine oak on top, when the underfloor heating is turned on, we will make sure that the heat transfers through nice and it stays through a duration of time as well. So once it's been turned off, it doesn't necessarily mean the floor will go very stone cold. It will make sure it maintains that heat quite well over a longer period of time. So yes, it definitely works with engineered flooring and it really does give you that genuine wood feel when you walk directly on top of it. There will be something called a square edge, which would fit directly at the edge of where, for example, the entrance door is, or around where we've got the nice, lovely big windows from floor to ceiling, sorry. That would finish all across by the windowsill. Like I said, the square edge would go by the entrance doors. We will also have something called a T-bar, which sits flat directly from where the 20mm matches onto the hallway, which is the 18mm. Now there is a slight bit of difference in the screed, and that was done with purpose, just to make sure when it's once fitted together, it meets at a very nice flush level to work with. So in regards to skirting, the customer will actually do that themselves in that they will install it later on once the flooring has gone on. Now we do supply skirtings and we fit them on also, but in this case the customer will be supplying and fitting the skirting on after the job's been complete. It is important to make sure you put the skirting on after because it creates a much better finish, which means you don't need to use beading to go around where your skirting matches to your floor.
This is a side question, but why do you think customers decide to go for beading instead of taking off their skirting boards?
So in some instances, customers use beading, and the reason for that is they don't want the headache of taking the skirting off, and things like plaster coming off occurs quite frequently, especially based on the actual skirting, the way it's been fitted on. Usually it's been nailed using really, really long nails. If they've been glued directly on, again, the same thing can happen. You can break the actual plaster and then you'd have to re-plaster, wait for the plaster to dry, then put the skirting back on. So in those instances, customers would just prefer to use beading to go across, just to save themselves a bit of headache and make sure you still get that nice finishing touch at the end. So as you can see here, we are using the glue down method. Now what that means is we're using a polymer adhesive to first scrape on top of the flooring, well, on top of the subfloor using a 3mm trowel. Once that has been applied, we directly put the flooring on, make sure the tongue and groove match firmly towards one another and it sticks, so you can see the nice 4V beveling on the edges of the floor. The reason why we use a polymer adhesive to stick this directly down is because it's the best glue to use once you're gluing flooring directly down to a concrete subfloor. The reason why we like to glue down is because it creates a much more sturdy finish. When you walk on top, it's nice and solid. Another factor is that it doesn't expand as much as opposed to floating floors. Now with floating floors, you usually put an underlay on and you PVA at the joints. That still is a way to put the flooring down. However, it's not as nice and sturdy as the glue down method is.
With this area having underfloor heating, will that affect the glue?
So it shouldn't affect the glue at all. The glue, once dried, it becomes sort of like a rubbery texture in that it makes sure it keeps all the boards nicely intact together, and it doesn't get affected by the underfloor heating at all, regardless of how high the temperatures are. Now, when it comes to underfloor heating, we always say to make sure you don't crank up the heat straight away. You let the floor cure a little bit, and as soon as you want to turn it on, go level by level. You want to turn it from 15 degrees, maybe you'll bump up to 17, to 20, 23, 24. You don't want to crank it straight up, because what happens is, based on your underfloor heating, if there's a quick transfer of heat, it could affect your flooring regardless of the floor that's been put directly down. So the customers actually visited us early 2024. They came into the Wolverhampton showroom and they were looking at engineered floors to begin with. They didn't know what spec to go with. They knew they wanted something quite nice and bespoke. They wanted a nice natural colour to complement the cottage style home they have. So me and Manny directed the customers at the Wolverhampton branch to choose the right flooring for them. Now, like I said, they already wanted to go with an engineered floor. They wanted to make sure we incorporate the straight plank into the herringbone plank, make sure it fits nice and smooth directly through. To achieve something like that, you need to make sure, one, the spec is very similar, the actual colour is very, very identical. Now they've gone for a natural product from the herringbone to the straight plank as well, to make sure it blends in nicely when we go from the transition room to room. Once they found out exactly what product they wanted to go for, I actually visited myself to this property, I'd say about 5-6 times, just making sure from the leveling to the flooring itself, to make sure they actually liked the colour they were having, to the actual square metre coverage from the supply and the fitting side, to make sure we're nicely on par, and to be able to give them a realistic fitting date that works with both our calendar and obviously the customer's calendar as well. So guys, if you like the flooring that you've seen in this video today, we will make sure to list the product codes on the caption below. Have a look at it. Like I said, there are 3 different types of floors. You have a 20 by 6, an 18 by 4 and an 18 by 3 in a herringbone, and obviously the floor we've got down in the open plan area is the 20 by 6 straight plank. Like I said, we will make sure the product code is on the caption. So what to do is make sure you copy and paste, make sure you put that in the website. It will take you directly to the portal of that specific floor, and from there you can order some samples, essentially look at the specification of the flooring itself, and then that way you can potentially get the dream floor for yourself as well. Thank you. Okay, last thing, make sure you like and subscribe. Comment as well.